Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Master Division with various wins for the Metropolitan 9-hole cup here in Golf Clash the game. Before we take a close look at all the content, make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. For those of you that are looking to improve your game even more, make sure to scan the QR code here on the screen or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy through the link that is in the description down below. You can start as low as $1.50 to get access to our premium guides. Follow the info box on the right hand side for the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. Hole number 1, I will show you 2 drives, one where I do play with max topspin and one where we play with 7 topspin, all to cater for even lower level clubs. Apocalypse level 5 users has to play with an albatross ball to compensate with the topspin boost. When it comes to Apoc 6, 7 and 8 you can play exactly the same. Bullseye by the rough line, adjust max plus 10, and we are going to check the wind angles for the best possible outcome here. This angle we're going to push up 10 rings with Apocalypse level 8, and that's going to be 9.1 rings with Apocalypse level 7 and 8.5 rings with 8.7 rings with Apocalypse level 5 and 6. Now I'm using max topspin, 1 left spin. If you do have any other club, you use max topspin there too, and that's going to obviously be less with the other clubs, and obviously keep the 1 left spin. The goal here is to get the ball to around the green area, either to be short or to be long. As always, when it comes to power slices, there is always going to be inconsistencies with that, but it's worth the risk in my opinion to get ourselves close to the green. If we do get into the rough or into the sand, I mean, that's unlucky, but that's part of the inconsistency, unfortunately. And I will show you another drive as well, so make sure to take a look at that one if you do not have max topspin such as Apoc 7 and Apoc 8. So when it comes to the drive here with 7 topspin instead, which is Apoc 6 numbers, we play exactly the same push-up too, but the most likely outcome when it comes to lesser topspin is that you will clip the rough that is on the center on the fairway, but you will roll out and you will have a wedge towards the pin. Unfortunately, that wedge is a little tricky, and that's why it is important for you to take a look at the wedge video that I will be sending here in that you will see here in the video, but also you will see on in Google Drive and in the guide. Same type of structure again. It's 7 topspin, 1 left spin, and we're gonna bounce on the fairway. You can see here now that we clip the rough and it rolls out and we get ourselves onto the fairway, and we're gonna have a wedge from here, and this is a little bit trickier than the one from the back, especially with downhill slope. So take a look at the wedge, please. So when it comes to the wedge, if you fall short, you can see here that we are going to do the EB school here still, but this is going to be a special version of EB school where we're always going to use 2 bars of backspin. And the reason we're going to do that is to slow down the ball, because otherwise we will come in too hot. So we're going to have to use backspin due to the downhill slope. So it's EB school with 2 backspin with 40% elevation, and then obviously the slider number that we do get from stretching out. So 2 backspin, we apply, ball guideline is just through the hole here, and then we will do our slider. For the sake of the reference, I do use 40% slider and then plus 40% elevation P5 for this particular shot. Center the ball and hit perfect, and this is going to be a very good chance to get a drop. Get the guide on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. For hole number 2, we are going to play a par 5 to Parc de Paris, and with the standard hole location, this hole is an absolute beauty. We are starting at max P5 rest. We are going to play max plus 10, and we're then going to push up slightly. The thing for us here now is that we are going to use the tailwind to have the ball to have the first bounce over the rough and sand, and then and go with all the curl as well, and we want to get this ball as far down the fairway possible without risking rolling into the rough. If you do not have a favorable tailwind, the way to go is to bounce before the rough and the sand using a lot of topspin, hoping that you do get a nice rollout. There is a risk for dead bounce in that sense. Now for the second shot, we are playing with the Guardian. We're going to try to catch the funnel that is behind the pin. If we can't do a pin check, then try to do a different reference. Here's a perfect scenario to use a landing position check, and now it's all about finding the correct offset, because the trouble with this one, or not the trouble, but the difficult part with this type of shot is that you can easily have the wrong offset because it's so wind angle dependent. Because if we have a wind right to left, we're going to pull to a lower point. If we have a wind coming left to right, we're going to pull to a higher point. And therefore, we need to offset in different ways. Always trying to be on the left side of the pin, because that's the way to catch the funnel. Center the ball, hit perfect. And here we look for the ball to bounce on the green, past the pin, and take that little groovy spot down into the hole for an albatross. Hole number 8, option number 1. This is very similar wind angle to what we've had before. Blue ring by the rough line with a pocket 8 at max P5 rest. This is the zone we want to have. This is the more tailwind one, which is perfect. So here we're just going to go with max topspin and all the boost, which is 3 boost. And we're not gonna do any type of push-up. You can see here as well that I'm after pulling my reins, I'm below plus 16. If you are below plus 16, you can swap to any P3 topspin boost 3 plus, win 3 ball. So then that opens up for a lot of different topspin boost balls to use. But if you do not pull below plus 16, you can't do that, because that's going to obviously make you jump further back, and that may have a negative impact on your shot. This is a chance for a hole-in-one. You need to be lucky, obviously, either straight at the pin, or if you come left at the pin, it may roll back and go into the hole. Option 1, a POC 7 plus shot. Get our guide on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Hole number 9, and we're gonna play with Kingslayer, or let's say like this, we're gonna play with a power 3 ball and win for side spin 2 plus ball. Blue ring by the rough line to the right with the rock level 9. Rock level 8 also starts at max. The only difference is that the rock 8 will have to push up 1 yard after the adjustment. The 4.5 bar top spin to right spin, and we are just adjusting max plus 10. We would recommend to favor 1159 in this case, or let's say play with an 1159, because that will allow us to play a little bit further away from the bunker. I'm not doing that in the video, and you will see how close I am with my first bounce to the rough line. 1.5 ball of right curl, and try to hit perfect. Goal here is to get up around 390 yards. You see how close we are with the first bounce there. So once again, 1159 off tee is definitely going to be recommended. So we're looking to be, once again, up to around 390 yards, 386, a little bit shorter than what I want to, but we can still make it work. Now, we're gonna do a yardage check here, or like a landing position check. So in this instance, we are just before plus 1 yard mark. Now, it's very important to leave the ball guideline short here, and the reason for that is due to the fact that the ball will have an extended ball guideline, and it's super easy to come in hot on this hole. So here I'm playing 67% slider with a 15% elevation and P3 numbers, and I'm playing with no spin. Adjustment is made. Make sure to center the ball and hit perfect for the best possible chance. Hole 9. The difficult part with this one, I've said that in the other playthroughs as well, is to judge the speed that the ball will come into the green with. And having to offset like we're doing here now is always going to be difficult to be exactly accurate. Getting it dead center though for a lovely albatross is not something I will complain about. Take your game to the next level with our Ultimate Tournament text guides. We are offering, as always, Expert and Master Division for the 9-hole Cup. Signing up for any of those packages that include the 9-hole Cup with us give you access to both of the divisions. You get access to the full experience with just not the text guide, but also being able to see all the shots in action, voiceovers on those on the majority of those shots, but also access to our Telegram feature where you can ask questions if something didn't go as you wanted, or if you just have questions in general on how to improve your game. We have done this for so long, we know how to make you a better player. So make sure to scan the QR code here on the screen or go directly to patreon.com/golf-tommy. And if you're looking for something else than just tournament guides, you can find checkpoint challenge guides and tour play guides there as well. Hole number 5, which is hole number 1 of the Parc de Paris. We are here either going to try to go down the center if we do have like a crosswind or like an angled tailwind. If we do have a headwind, we are forced to play up to the right and then play a pretty difficult approach shot. If we do have a more or less a straight tailwind, we're sending it to green. So I'm making the adjustment, then going to go with full blast overpower it half a ball of left curl. The intention here is to bounce on the fairway and into the rough and then roll out. And from here we're either going to have a wedge or we're going to have a short iron towards the pin. It all depends on how far you're rolling. Now, second shot, like I said, it's either a wedge or a short iron, but the wedge is the one to play here because the short iron doesn't start until very late. Now, it's an EB school type of play, and this is not an easy wedge, have that in mind. So what I'm deciding to do is to use a little bit of backspin to actually aim further down and not aim that high up on that slope. Once we have made our position here, we are going to play this one as an EB school plus 20%. And even though we're using the 3 backspin here, we're still gonna play 20% and obviously then P5 numbers. A lot of rings to pull, center the ball and hit perfect. And this is going to be a good chance to lock in the eagle. Now, again, this is a hole that offers so many different ways to play. Choose one way to play and stick with that. For hole 9, option number 1, this is an Apoc 7+ play. Start with QB at max speed 3 line, white ring by the rough line. From there, we're moving 2 rings to the left. And the reason I'm doing this type of way is because it's very difficult to find the aim point that we do want by just having a floating landing position like that. Swap to Apoc and cat bag. Max top spin and 2 left spin. Adjust its max plus 10 P3. You can play with any P2, 3, 4 or 5 ball. Have in mind that you need the 2 left spin. Playing with a P4 or P5 ball will ensure a completely slow needle all the time, and that's obviously helpful. Max curl to the left, max overpower, try to hit perfect. The ball is then going to do a double bounce over the rough like that. And we're looking to be somewhere between 392 to 403 yards. On the second shot, we are either going to be in landing position with our plus yardage or we're going to do a bunker check. Here we do have a longer drive. We have obviously specified what type of yardage you need to get past to get the bunker check compared to the landing position. Here, I'm doing 7.9 bars of topspin and 2 right spin. Yellow ring by the rough line with cat 8, ball guideline through the hole. Adjust is going to be, when it comes to the bunker check, it's going to be minus 10% elevation P4 numbers, and we have our base at plus 9 and plus 10, which is the 90% slider. If we do have the LP, we have plus 1 and plus 2 as our base. That is also 90% slider with minus 10% elevation P4 numbers. This is the do nothing angle. So we're just centering the ball and try to hit perfect. Ball bounces into the rough over the bunker, and then we roll with a beautiful speed dead center for a lovely albatross here on a tough hole, which is hole number 9. Or let's say like this, it's a tough hole because you do have headwind off tee. Get our guide on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. So on hole number 4, we're gonna play a par 4. We're gonna play over to the small pad there in the center. I wanted to let you know here that this shot has been tested for a POC 5, a POC 6, and then a POC 7 and a POC 8. Topspin and landing spots and stuff like that. Everything will be added in the guide, and here we're gonna focus on using all the topspin we can and one left spin. We're always going to use all the topspin we can and one left spin for the lower level drivers as well. Start at the top of plus 18. White ring by the rough line with a POC 8. Obviously a POC 7, 6 and 5 will overlap as well. Due to the different accuracy, everything will be listed as a table. Adjust max plus 10 P3. And with a POC 7 and a POC 8, there is no overpower involved. A POC 6 is going to use 2 rings of overpower always. A POC 5 is going to use 4 rings of overpower always to get to the same spot. What I would like you to have in mind here is that I would strongly recommend for a POC 5 and a POC 6 users to use a power 5, wind 4 or wind 5 ball to make this drive. And the reason for that is when you're using overpower with P5 ball, the needle will be very slow. It will then be much easier to hit perfect. If you keep a power 4 ball, the needle will be shaking a lot, which obviously is going to be a difficult thing to have to manage to do accurate. The second shot has been tested for wind 4 and wind 5 ball and drops with both. And we're gonna start by doing a fringe check. And the reason we're doing a fringe check is because sometimes, especially with a great right, we will not be in plus yardage on our landing spot. Plus 7 we do have there. We're using 0.1 bar of topspin, which is 2 clicks above 0. Ball guideline to go through the hole with top of the yellow ring by the rough line with B52 7 and 8, B52 5 and 6. We're gonna have just the yellow ring just slightly overlapping the rough line instead. Now we're gonna do as a straight pull possible. When it comes to this angle here, we're not gonna use any curl whatsoever. We are going to play this one just as is. If we would be having an angle that is more right of that, we're going to in that case go with 2 clicks of right curl to compensate for the more crosswind. Perfect ball, and it bounces into the rough nicely and it curves down here, and we're getting this ball lovely to drop dead center here on hole number 4. Get the guide on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. On this hole, I normally just show a layup always, but this time I'm gonna show a little send it. So, if you do have a tailwind here in Master from the 3rd tee, this obviously applies from 2nd and from 1st tee as well. You can send it over the water and the rough and actually get very close to green, which is something you should do. I don't see the point in laying up if that's the wind we are receiving, because the layup is, I mean, sure, precision balls here and there, but you know, getting close to green here is going to be very valuable. With an angled tailwind, we're going to have to push up pretty close to max if we do have a low wind. But if it is a more a straighter tailwind, then you could come along playing just with a regular circ and not have a shaky needle at all. We do want to bounce on the fairway using backspin to control and get the ball to stop here. You can obviously go aggressive, attack the pin if you would like, but in the end though, it's like the eagle we are looking for mainly. Hole 3, we're gonna send it. When we do have a tailwind like this, we need to send it, in my opinion. It's going to be such a massive disadvantage if you cannot send it here. So we're gonna use a spirit ball or a rue ball, which has a 5 topspin boost. And we're gonna set the 10% of the yellow ring inside the rough with a POC 8. Adjustment is max plus 10 P3. And then we're gonna look at the wind angles. We're gonna look at the 2 boats in the far distance. This is crosswind angle, and we're gonna push up 10 rings for 16.2 miles per hour with apocalypse level 8. Once we have done that, we're adding the spins. Max top spin boost, and half a bar of right spin. This is going to be an Apox 7 shot only. However though, this shot can be played with Apox 6 too. You're just gonna have a longer wedge. When it comes to Apocalypse level 5, I would strongly advise not to play this shot, as you will danger the water, and then you're gonna have to lay up. And obviously we will have a layup in the guide as well, so you don't have to be alarmed about that. And we are rolling our ball this time all the way to fringe. You're gonna be somewhere on the fairway by or the fringe before the green if everything is done correctly. Sure, there is risk involved here when it comes to playing a shot like this, but the risk is definitely worth to be taken. We strongly advise to use max topspin and max topspin boost on this wedge. There is, I mean, a lot of room because it's more or less a straight tailwind here on the second shot. What I would like you to do though is to look around for glitchy spots so you're not making a mistake here. And when it comes to max topspin boost, DB School will play minus 60%. P4 numbers, and you can see here I didn't even bother to adjust as the wind are so straight. But if you're gonna do the EB School, it's minus 60% P4 numbers. Get the guide on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Master Division with the Metropolitan 9-hole Cup, a mix of a lot of courses here in Golf Clash the game. If you do want to become a better player in Master Division or in any other type of game mode in Golf Clash, you scan the QR code here on the screen, or you go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. There you do have packages for Checkpoint Challenge, Tour Play, 9-hole Cups, and for tournament play. So make sure to sign up and start your journey in becoming a better player. Link is also in the description down below. Thank you once again for watching, and wish you the best of luck in your Golf Clash game.